guys, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Thank you so much guys for subscribing to my channel. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. Hit on the subscribe button and then the notification bell just beside to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So that's just like the essence. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Today I'm bringing you a subscriber's request. This request was actually sent to me by two different persons. So subscriber request is a series that I do from time to time on my channel, where you have to send in pictures that you have saved on your phones of styles that you actually don't really know how to figure out. You send them to me on Instagram or on Facebook. You could send to me on Instagram at stylishnaija. You could go to Facebook at the sewing group, which is Stylish Naija sewing group. So just drop your request there and make sure to send me a very clear picture. So in order for me to be able to figure out the style, and in the upcoming series, if you get pics, I'll make a video of it. So trying to illustrate it as simple as I can to make you understand. So that's just like the essence. So today you could see this drape skirt up here. So that's what I'll be showing you how to drape today. It's really simple and easy. Very easy. I'm going to be doing it. This such skirt, you could do it in two ways. You could use the slash and spread method. That's for the drape on the front. You could use the slash and spread method to do that, but I'm not going to use the slash and spread method. I'm going to use another simple method that you understand it easily. So that's just what I'm going to do. So let's just go. So I have two papers here. I'm going to be using one for the back and then the one for the front. The back one, you just make the back piece of your fabric, or if you are draping straight on your fabric or on a pattern paper, then transfer to your fabric. Make the back one 2 inches bigger than the front. So that's just the essence. So guys, I'm going to draft it on this paper first, and then I'll transfer it to this fabric. Then I'll do the drape on the fabric. So in order for you to understand it, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to keep this one on the side and then mark my lines and then show you. So guys, I have some couple of lines on my paper already, and I'm going to be explaining to you. The first line I have here, this is just like my startup line. So I'm going to tag this. This is going to be my waistline. So it's like the startup line. So you leave half an inch on top. That's what you use to stitch on top. And then for making skirts like this, you could see the skirt. It's a pencil skirt. That's the skirt. The structure of the skirt is a pencil shape. So skirt. So in doing a skirt like this, the first thing you do is your waist measurement. You measure out your waist measurement, and then the hip part. That is very important. I normally say this a lot on most of my videos. So I have a line here from the waist. This is like standard. From the waist to the first line I have here is 6 inches. This 6 inches is just like a guide. And then from the waist to from the waist again, you measure 10 inches. So in between 6 inches and 10 inches, this is where you actually put your hip measurement. So this is like your hip line. So it's just like a guide. This 6 inches is just like a guide. And then you measure out the length of your skirt. Depends on how long you actually want your skirt to be. For this, I'm going to be making use of 24 inches. So this is my hem length. That's for the down. Then you leave half an inch. You leave between leave at least 2 inches on the down part that you use to fold it. So 2 inches is okay. So I'll just fold my fabric into 2. And in order for you to fold your fabric, you measure the biggest part of your measurement, which is the hip measurement, and then you divide into 4, and then you add at least 3 inches allowance to it. So for this, my hip measurement is actually 40. So when you divide 40 into 4, you have 10 inches. So I've added 1, 2, 3. So that's, you fold your fabric at 13 inches. So that's for beginners that really don't know how to fold their fabric. So now we'll start measuring. So the first thing I'm going to measure for this drape skirt is the waist measurement, and the waist measurement is 34. So I'll divide 34 into 4. When you divide 34 into 4, you have 8.5. So I'm just going to put my tape like this, and then I measure my 8.5. So this is 8.5, and then I'll add between 1 and 2 inches. I'll add 2 inches allowance to it, because I'm going to be taking out that from inside. So I'll just add 2 inches allowance, which is okay. So I'm just going to mark it like this. And then the next measurement that I'm measuring is the hip measurement, which is 40, like I said initially. And you divide 40 into 4, you have 10 inches. So this is 10 inches, and then I'm still going to maintain my 2 inches allowance. So this is like my 2 inches allowance. So I'm just going to use dotted lines just to connect them, just to for you to see the shape of the skirt as it is going. So the next thing I'm going to do now, come to the down part of the skirt. The down part of the skirt usually reduced by 2 inches. So it depends, as if you want it to be slim, since it's not a bodycon, you reduce by 2 inches to give it that perfect fit. So I'm going to be using 8 inches. You know, we use 10 here, so I'm going to use 8 inches here, and then I'm still going to maintain my 2 inches allowance to the down part of the skirt. So the next thing, I'm just going to maintain the dotted lines like this, and then bring it so you could see the shape of my skirt. So I'm just going to rule it out now with my curve and my ruler. So guys, this is our skirt shaped out. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be adding dart to it. So for the dart, I'm just going to come here. That is just to make it to fit properly here, so it doesn't have any excess. So I'm just going to make use of 4 inches from this point here. I'll measure 4 inches, and then from this 4 inches, I'll just come down. You could decide to, I'll just come down by 6 in this 6 inches is okay, and then I'll rule a straight line. I'm just going to connect it with a straight line like this. So guys, you can see, so I finished cutting it out now. So I'll place it now on my fabric and then cut out. After cutting, I'll couple the skirt. I'll just couple the skirt on this edge, on the two sides, and then leave the side where I want my drape to enter. So I'll come back and show you that. So I just don't want to waste much time on this video. So I'll come back, I'll do that, and then come back and show you. So guys, I've finished coupling my skirt. So you could see what I did, but I left one side open. That's this side open. So that's where I'm going to be doing the drape on it. So I'm just going to show you now. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it out on the paper first, then before I transfer it to the fabric, so to make it easy. So I'm just going to in order to do this, you need double of your you are going to measure where you actually want the drape to start from. So mine, I want it to start from this dart line point. I want it to start from this dart line point, so it's going to be coming like this. So I'm going to measure what I have. That's from this point to this point. I have 12 inches, and then I'm going to measure what I have here. For the hip part, I have 14 inches, so I'm going to double it. 14, I'm going to use 20. I could decide to double it. If I'm doubling it, I'll use 28 inches, but I could decide to use like maybe 24 inches. So I'll use 24 inches. So that's the width of the fabric that I'm going to be draping. That's pleating on this side. Is the width is going to be 24. So I'll use 24. So I'm just going to measure out my paper to see if I have enough of it. So I have 24. The width is okay. So now measure out the next thing I'm going to do now. The width is okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to measure out the length of what I want. So I really advise you to do this on a piece of paper before you transfer it to your fabric. So I'm going to mark it out like this. I'm leaving this point first. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to make a curve. Since we're not using the cut and slash, the slash and spread method, I'm going to use this method. So I'll just place it like this on it, and then depends on how high I want it to be. So I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm just going to use my eye to just gauge it out. So I'll come like this. I'll come to this point now. That's from the hemline of the skirt. Depends on how wide I want it to be. So this is the hemline, sorry. That's on the edge, the first edge. So I'm just going to measure it out like this. So it depends on how wide. So I'm going to be making use of 6 inches to this point. 6 inches is okay. So I'm going to be making use of 6 inches. So from this 6 inches point, I'm just going to be making a curve from this point. Now I'll take it down to this point. So I'm just going to use dotted lines to do it. I'll use dotted lines to do it in order for you to understand. So if you feel the 6 inches is not big enough, so I think I should still reduce or to do 5 inches, which is okay. So I'm going to cut it out first. So I've got that out. So like I told you, I said you could decide to use the slash and spread method on this. So it depends on what you want. If you want to use that method, you could use it. So we're going to be starting it from here. So you could see our curve is already out already. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to take, if you don't want it, if you feel that the length is too long, if you want to reduce it, all you have to do is just check it out, how much reduction you want it to be. That's if you don't want it to get to the hem of your skirt. So you could still decide to curve it out. So in order for it not to get to the down, that's the bottom of your skirt. So if you still want it up, you could reduce it. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll take my skirt like this, and then I'll place it on this point because I want to get the shape, that's the edge. I want the shape out. I want to get the edge of my skirt properly. So I have the edge of my skirt, so I have the shape of my skirt, so you can see what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try and pleat it here first before I transfer to my fabric. So I'm just going to give it a try. So, and I want all my edges, so I'm going to place it here on this dart line. So that's where I'm placing mine, so you could see the shape. So I'm just going to try and pleat like this, and I'll measure how much width I want. So the first one I'm going to be pleating, I'm going to be using 2 inches from the top. I'm just I'll try it out first before I transfer it to the fabric. So guys, for this down part, once I started pleating it, I found out that this down part is a little bit wide. So I'm going, initially I used 5 inches. So I'm going to just reduce it to like the barest minimum. So to like 3 inches, that's from this point to this point, that's from here like this. So to like 3 inches. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to make my curve. I'll make use of my curve to just give it a perfect curve like this. So I'm going to cut it out now. So what I have now, so you can see now. So what I have now is okay. So I'm just going to continue with my 2 inches and pleats. So I'm going to be pleating it like this to this point. I'll pleat this to this point, and then I'll show you on the fabric. I just want to try it out first. Okay guys, so you can see, so I've transferred my pattern to my fabric because it was not really smooth trying to drape it on the pattern. So I'm just going to carry set the paper aside and then drape it directly on my fabric. So I'm just going to take it like this, and then I'm just going to measure 2 inches apart. So I'm just going to mark it out. So the first one I'm going to use 2.5 inches. So this is my 2.5 inch, just for me to know how much pleats I'm going to be adding to it. So this is another 2.5. So it depends on the quantity of pleats you want to put. This is the third one, and then I'm going to be adding just four pleats. So I'm going to be pleating it out because I'm going to be ironing them out. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to use pins to pin them out. So the next thing, when draping, the most important thing is iron. You actually need your pressing iron in order for it to come out properly. So I'm just going to, you could see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to use pins to secure them down for you to understand. Before I press, I take to my ironing table to press it down. So when I'm pressing, I'll press that point down. So the next one, I'll come to this point now. The next pleat is not going to be as long. It's not going to be as long as the first one. So I'm just going to pin it out like this. So the third one, I'm going to do the third one. I'll just continue until I exhaust my fabric here on this point. Okay, so guys, so you can see what I have. So I'm just going to separate it in order for you to see it properly. So you could see that I actually achieved the curves with my pressing iron. So but I advise, if you are going to be doing this, because this fabric is a little bit hard, you use a soft fabric. They are better when draping. So with that, you see it will flow naturally. So you don't need to sweat like I'm sweating now. So the next thing you do now, so if you are doing this, you make a lining and then you line this. So in order, but if you don't want to line, if you are using something like a thicker, like a scuba fabric, you really don't need to line. All you have to do is just for you to lock your edges, and then you now take it. What you have, you take it, you spread it out. That was the essence of opening this part, and then you place it where you want to place it, and make sure the hip part is entering. My fabric is almost not enough again, because after cutting out the pattern, I find that I didn't have enough fabric left. So that's just why this part is shortened. So you ensure you use the extra amount, the enough amount of fabric. So now all you have to do, I'm just going to place it out like this and then carve out the shape of my skirt properly. And then I'll carve it out properly. So you follow the edges and then shape out your skirts really nicely. And then before you do the final, so I'm just going to follow the hip like this. So I'll cut it out now. So you could see, so like the one on the picture, if you want a front slit on your skirt, so you could decide to do that. You could decide to put a front slit. So it depends on what you want. And then if you want to use this project for a gown, you do the top part and then make the down part like this. So you could still make use of it for a gown. So you place it. All you have to do is just place like this, and then you stitch on top of this point, as in you stitch this, your drape, you stitch it to your main skirt. And then before, if it's a skirt, then you turn it with a band. You use the band to turn it, and then you have your waist knit nicely out. And this side, you don't have to worry about this side. All you have to do when sewing, you stitch both of them together for you to, and that's when closing up your skirt, you just close it up, and then this edge you lock it out. So that's just basically how you drape this skirt. So guys, I have now come to the end of this subscriber's request. If you find this video helpful, please like this video, share this video, drop a comment down on the comment section if you actually have any problem regarding any part of this video. So thank you so much for watching, and bye. See you in my next video. Don't send me your